Okay, this is my 1986 V12 HE. I got a problem. I've been in here and I've changed all the leads and reconditioned all this, and then when I went and changed all the plugs and leads and had everything out, I put it back together. Now this doesn't work and the compressor doesn't work, so I've got to fault find that. First one is the compressor. Let me go back over here. This is a diagram of the compressor. It's the A6 compressor, the GM A6 compressor, and it's got this thermal sensor here, which when it gets hot, i.e. when the pump gets too hot with insufficient freon, it trips to earth there, energizes that resistor, which blows that fuse and cuts the power off coming in there to the clutch. That's what I've learned. This is on Palm page 504, which I've written out there. I think that's my problem, and what I'm going to do is a few things. I'm going to check the clutch works by a direct link. I'm going to take this apart and check that these links work. I'm going to see if that's grounded. I'm basically going to check it all out and try and get it working. If that has shorted, I've got to find a new one, so in the meantime I'll just bypass this little resistor bit here. On the car, that resistor thing is there. That, I believe that is the cable going to the back of the compressor. There is the clutch wiring, and this is my inserted wiring to the relay over there. I put that in because it was actually trailing across the top of the engine. There's also this. Some of this is very old, but I'm going to basically lay all this out and take a look at it and test it. So I've got 12 volts in the little battery pack connected to the compressor clutch. Let's just check that, and works fine. So the compressor clutch works. Got the relay wired up. Again, 12 volts across 3051 to 87 should light this up. And you can see the relay is functioning fine. And 12 volts connected to this through this rotten old wire. Still functions. So we know that this cable connection is alright. So I'm going to seal that up again and then let that be. Now let's look at this brown-green wire, which gets energized by the relay, and this wire, which goes into the thermal switch. If I just position that just like that, I've got my 12 volts connected to earth there, and then I connect this with 10 hands. So that part is powering the fan. Okay, so that's all good. Okay, so there it is. Look at both of them together. We've got this line going to the back of the compressor. This is coming from the relay, and I guess that extra wire there is going down to the auxiliary fan, this one which turns on when the compressor cuts in. That goes to the middle, and then this one is the earth and goes to another three-way connector, which went to there. Now if we look closely in there, that looks very burnt. So my guess is this has shorted and this has broken the link between the relay and the link to the compressor, but I'm going to check it. If this has not broken, these two should be connected. This looks like a bigger connection than this one. When you look at the actual thing, they look really close, but I'm going to check the lead, the contact between this middle one and either both that one and that one, and one of them should be lit. So I got 12 volts again. If I connect, move that wire, connect to the middle, connect to the left, nothing, connect to the right, nothing. It's good. So point is, this has failed, i.e. it's been energized, it needs to be replaced. They're $3 or $4 from AutoZone. I'm going to bypass it for now. It possibly failed because I was removing the compressor and I ended up shorting this connection in some way. It possibly failed because the compressor overheated. Well, when I first put that compressor in, which is not a GMA6, it's something from Four Seasons which didn't quite fit properly. When I first put it in, the system was running low and it was just too hot to touch. I mean, it was like a manifold, it was so hot. I burnt my finger on it just doing sort of like this. Point is, that happened and it did not blow the overheating cut-off device thing, this thing. It didn't blow that. It now has blown when that's not the case, so I think I caused it to blow. I'm going to bypass it and buy a new thermal switch. But before I do that, I'm going to check this should not be earthed. This line should not be earthed. Unless, of course, being a replacement, not a GM part, it works slightly differently. I'm not sure. So here I am again, another 12 volts, connecting this to earth, causes it to light up. Damn it, I got the... Okay, so this is hard in one hand, but if I take this cable, right on the end there is exposed wire. If I, just checking that's illuminate, so if I put that on there, it should light up if it's earth, and it's not. So this hasn't shorted, which means it hasn't triggered. So I guess I must have triggered that little device, so I'm going to get a new device like that. In the meantime, I'm going to bypass it. I need to recharge the Freon anyway, a little bit. I lost a bit when I was removing the compressor. I undid this back retaining bolt, a little bit squeezed out, but it was still functioning after that. So where am I now? I've disconnected the fan just so that I don't get that noise, so I can listen out for a clicking of the clutch. I have got the relay wire, this blue one here, going straight to the clutch there, and it also goes to the fan, but the fan gets turned on by some other source, it seems, as well. But anyway, point is, when I start the ignition, I should hear the clutch. However, here's what I'm finding. I've taken it out for the moment because I wanted to take it out because there was another clicking going on over here. I think it was the fuel relay, but it's somewhere deeper in there. I didn't find it. Point is, I disconnected the compressor relay and there was still a clicking. So it seems that this is not clicking. This relay is not activating the compressor clutch. I'm going to take it out for a run just to make sure I don't have to have the engine running for that to take place. Actually, I'll probably just do it sitting here. That's my next test. So under the dash, fuses 10 and 11, aircon controls, horn, rad cooling fan. Well, we know that works. But anyway, I went up there and I've taken them out and I've checked them. It's this one and this one, and they're good. Okay. So problem solved. I noticed that the relay over there functions when the engine's running, but not without the engine running. So I took it for a drive, and yes, the compressor kicked in. Let's feel how these pipes are correct, and the compressor is cold. So now, what do I do now? I'm going to check that again, the sensor that goes to the rear, where is it? It's, oh my god, I can't even find it now. This one. I'm going to check that this has not triggered, because if it has, I won't be able to use it again. And I'm going to get a new one of those thermal devices. They're about $3 or $4